everyone, Paige here, Energy Healer and Channel. This is your December energy update. In this update, we're going to talk about the energy of the month of December, how it's been feeling and what I'm noticing, kind of trends that I'm seeing with clients and how that might be affecting you as well. And we're also going to talk about the Metatron channeling from the month of November and the themes that came through in that channeling, the message, and also how that pertains to you and how you can use that information. But before we get started in all of that, I do want to ask you to please take a moment to like and subscribe. It is a tremendous help to me for one very big reason, which is that YouTube has removed the controls for ads. So until I reach a certain number of subscribers, I cannot remove any of the ads in the videos. I have no control. And I know that's been really frustrating for a lot of you who have been listening to the meditations. It's frustrating for me as well. So I would greatly appreciate your help with this. So please do like and subscribe. Okay, let's get into it. So the energy of December has already been feeling so much better for a lot of people. There's movement again, there's flow in the energy. So you're probably feeling this somewhere in your life. It's most likely standing out for you in the sense that something that might have felt stuck and like it really wasn't moving forward is now beginning to pick up. It probably hasn't resolved, but there's movement. And that's really the key piece here, because for so many months we had just a slowness to the energy that felt almost like stagnation. It felt like there were all these things that we wanted to make happen. We could see where we were going, what we wanted to do, but nothing was moving behind that. So now there's flow again. So things are starting to move. And one thing that I have noticed that has been a bit of a difficulty for some people is that they may not be moving in the way that you wanted them to, or the way that you were really kind of expecting them to. So it shouldn't be a huge shock, but it might just be a disappointment. What I would suggest if you find yourself in that situation is to look at what's frustrating you, because that's going to tell you where there's some issue, right? Where there's some resistance or something that hasn't quite been resolved. And I would say sit with that and see if there's anything in there that you might have been resistant to looking at. And the reason I say this is because we have all been in huge changes over this year that I've talked about every month. You can look back at any one of my videos. You'll hear me talking about that quite a bit. So I won't go back into that, but these are such big changes. We're all stepping into our new ways of being. It's almost like stepping into a new self. And you don't want to bring all the old stuff with you. And that's been made clear over and over. We're getting rid of all the old stuff. All the old baggage has got to go. And so there could still be some lingering pieces. And that might be how that's showing up for you if the things that are happening now aren't quite what you wanted, aren't quite what you expected. I am also seeing that that is the trend of the moment. So that's a nice segue into what's happening with the energy right now. And that is that it's those last little pieces that are clearing out for people. And it can be on various different levels, but it tends to be, again, old emotional patterns, old behavioral patterns, lots of old emotional wounding that you might be holding on to. Those things can be coming to the surface, again, to be cleared out so that you can move forward into a new state where you are unencumbered by all of the old stuff, which is, of course, what we all want. So it can be a good practice to sit down and do some journaling and identify anything that's been coming up for you so that you can use your intention and make it a conscious process of releasing all of those old things. Okay, now let's talk about the Metatron channeling from the month of November. This is the channeling that I do every month on the Insight Timer, and the recording is here on YouTube. You can go ahead and listen to that if you haven't already. Those channelings have a strong energetic frequency transmission, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the frequencies and the meanings of all of those frequencies. But I do want you to know that if you listen to the channeling after the fact, if you listen to the recording, you are still going to get the energy. It's not quite as strong as it is in person, but if you're participating in the moment, but you will still get it. Now you can participate if you would like to in those monthly meditations. They are free. You just need to go to the Insight Timer and follow me there. I'll include a link below, and I'll also include a link to that channeled video. Okay, the easiest way for me to do this is just to read to you the frequencies that came through, the definition of those frequencies, and the overall theme that we're dealing with right now. And this was something that came through at the end of November. So we are very much in the energy of what was being presented in that meditation. Now I want to just recap. Every month there are 3 frequencies and they come through in a specific order. And there is importance to the order. Every month I ask beforehand, and this is all with Metatron, I ask what the frequencies are, and then I ask for a definition of the frequency. So all of this is channeled. Okay, so here we go. These frequencies are all in gigahertz. The first one is 7666, and that represents alternating currents of ionic spheres. And that is a thing. You can look up ionic spheres. I wasn't aware of this when I channeled this, but it has to do with the formation of matter. The next one is 7777, and that one represents ionic formations intersecting within varying expanses of human thought. So here we're getting into the manifestation of human thought. And the last frequency is 5555, which represents a pathway that is free of obstruction, that self-propels without resistance. Those first 2 frequencies were new in this last meditation. The third one is one that we've had quite a few times, so it tends to be something that's assisting in the movement or flow of energy. Now the overall theme for that meditation, and what this means is how all of those frequencies come together and the sort of blend that they create. And that is the interchange of ions and unformed matter as the basis of telluric distribution of fission-formed particles. I know that's a lot. I'm going to say it one more time. The interchange of ions and unformed matter as the basis of telluric distribution of fission-formed particles. So we're getting into some of the physics here. What we're talking about is the interaction of human thought and the telluric realm, which is to do with the soil, with the earth. The movement of this distribution is along telluric currents, and those are very low frequency currents of energy that traverse large areas near or at the Earth's surface. And fission, in case you aren't aware, fission is the process in nuclear physics in which the nucleus of an atom splits into 2 daughter nuclei, and those can form completely different substances. So this is a lot to take in, it's a lot to understand, and I'm certainly not someone who knows the physics behind all of this. I'm just relaying the information that came through as it came through verbatim. I did ask the question of Metatron of how these 2 things come together, how the telluric realm and human thought interact. And the answer was, human thought is pure creative potential triggering fission and the expression of new forms within the telluric realm. So we really are talking about the power of manifestation, the ability that each and every one of us has to use our intention, use our desire, use our vision to manifest in this physical realm. So let's go over some of the points that came up, some of the main points that came up in the message from that meditation, because I think it will also help to make this a little bit more clear. The first one that came up was that there are new forms and structures coming in to support the change that we're in right now. So as I mentioned before, we're all kind of stepping into our new selves. This has been the theme, that we were coming to this point, and now we're at this point. And what Metatron was saying is that there are energetic forms that are coming in that are supporting where we are now. It's like we've left behind a lot of the old, this whole breakdown that's been going on since 2020. We've left behind a lot of old structures, And we have new structures coming in, but these are not permanent structures. These aren't things that are intended to be fixed and stay in place. These are sort of temporary structures that are helping us as we move from one phase to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So that's the first thing that came through. The next is that there's a reflective relationship between the planet and humanity, that we're moving together and shifting and changing together, and that one is reflecting the other. And this is really important because the next thing that was, the next point was that the consciousness of the planet is aware of us. In fact, that was exactly how it came through. The consciousness of the planet is aware of you and is interacting with the consciousness of humanity. This is a reminder to see the planet as a conscious presence that interacts with us on a different level, a level that we aren't usually aware of or considering, I would say, when we think about the planet. What does that mean for you if you put that into context for yourself? So that question was posed to us during that channeling. Then we were reminded to create the vision, and that is the vision for yourself. Now, at the same time that you're creating a vision for yourself, you're also encouraged to see this as a vision for humanity. So it's not just about the individual, it's always about the whole, and also about the planet. So there's a lot of emphasis here, again, going back to those frequencies, on our interaction with the planet and how we have to move together. We're moving in this sort of reflective way where, the energy kind of moves towards one and then back towards the other as we shift and change. And that's a necessary part of this evolutionary process that we are in. So again, we're being told to expand on visions that we already had and reinforce them so that we're remembering them, keeping them in mind. And finally, there was an emphasis on the fact that we are going to have new information coming in that may challenge our previous ideas or beliefs about how things are, and that we need to be open to that. That's part of a process of evolution. We need to be open to the new information that comes in and not be afraid of it, and not listen to any fear mongers, people who would want us to be afraid. Fear is always used for control. So thinking about when you are presented with new information, what your reaction is, how accepting are you of new ideas? Because we are going to move into a phase now where there are lots and lots of new ideas coming in very quickly that could really challenge old beliefs. And we're being pushed to open up more, to be more receptive, which makes us more pliable, which means we'll create more forms and move more quickly. We'll create more structures. All of these things that we've been talking about are really reliant on our ability to be receptive and to shift and change our perspectives on things. And we were reminded also to listen with the heart. The heart always knows truth. So the heart will hear that truth no matter how it's being presented. And the last thing that was said was, you are the painter holding the paintbrush. And I will leave you with that. I hope that you have a beautiful holiday season and a wonderful end of your year. And again, please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and I will see you in the new year.